Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today or yesterday I made feta بيتنجان, and I've just heated everything up to make my little intro and outro and to take some pictures because I was a little bit too rushed yesterday. Basically feta بيتنجان is a beautiful aubergine dish, which the first time that I heard of it and had it, it was my friend, shout out to my friend Zahra. She used to make it all the time, and her version was so good. The way my friend Zahra used to make it is that basically she would just make it with like a layer of cubed fried aubergine on the bottom, and then fried tomato over that, and then the crispy fried bread, like the fetouche style crispy bread. It's so good. It's just fried bread, but it's really good. Yeah, and then she would put like parsley and like a yogurt tahini sauce on top of it. Obviously I didn't have the yogurt sauce because I don't have dairy, but the way I've made it is that I've basically used coconut yogurt, which I've talked about before. I really love it, but also I've switched it up from that kind of version a little bit because this is inspired by Juma Kitchen. Shout out to Philip Juma, his version, because he made it a few weeks ago for his NHS, to donate to NHS staff members, which was really lovely. But he made it with vermicelli rice and a tomato sauce rather than just fried tomatoes, and I was inspired to do something very similar. I didn't make it exactly like he made it. Obviously I've got just a few changes, but I've got the basic feta بيتنجان idea here. But yeah, just served with some rice and topped it with some pine nuts, parsley, and some pomegranate seeds on top for the look, because just adds a pop of color, makes it look super beautiful. Yeah, so I really hope that you enjoy the video, and yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, just switching to a little voiceover now. I'm just starting off by chopping up the aubergine. As you can see, I just took the top off, cut it in half, and then I'm just slicing it into these kind of cubes here, just into these wee cubes. They're not very even, but it's fine, doesn't need to be perfect. And then I'm just transferring them to this wee sieve, and then I'm just adding kind of a generous amount of salt, and then I'm just going to basically let that sit aside so that some of the moisture can come out of the aubergine, just for about 15 to 20 minutes or so. And then as you can see, I'm just cutting up my tomatoes just so that they're easier to fit in my little mini chopper here, because I'm just going to blend them up. I left my sauce to be kind of like thick and chunky, but if you prefer a more smooth tomato sauce, you could obviously blend them for longer, or you could just use some passata, up to you. And as you can see, I'm just chopping up my garlic here, just kind of finely chopping it. You could use a mincer instead if you prefer, whatever. And then I'm just heating up a little bit of oil in the saucepan. I just used some cooking olive oil, and I'm just going to have it on a low heat just so that the garlic can cook nicely without burning a little bit. Just took off the heat there because it was clearly just a little bit too high. And then I'm just adding in just about a tablespoon of tomato paste, and I'm just going to fry that off with the garlic for a little bit, just about 2 minutes or so. And then after that, I'm just adding in my blended tomatoes, along with just a little bit of water. This was just about a quarter cup or so, just to thin it down a little bit. And then I've got it on a high heat. And then I'm just adding the lid on, and I'm going to let that come to a boil and let it boil for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then after that, I'm just taking it off the heat so that I don't get splattered all over, and I'm just taking the lid off so that I can add some seasoning, a little bit of salt, and I ended up adding in just a little bit of chili flakes as well. Of course, this is optional depending whether or not you like spice. And I was going to add in sugar. Normally I add in a little bit of sugar to my tomato sauces, but I ended up deciding to add in some pomegranate molasses instead, which was nice because obviously aside from the sweetness, I added a little bit of sourness as well, which I really liked. So yeah, I'd recommend that. And then I'm just sticking the lid back on, sticking it back on the heat, and I reduced that to a simmer and let that cook while I was preparing everything else basically, so for about 20 to 30 minutes or so. Yeah, and I ended up turning this lovely deep red color, so that's kind of what you're going for here. And then here I'm just rinsing my rice. Obviously at the beginning it's quite cloudy, as you can see, but yeah, I just repeated this, rinsed it for around 4 or 5 times until the water was kind of almost clear. And then to prepare the vermicelli rice, I just added about a handful of vermicelli to a pot that I had on high heat, and I did add a little bit of oil to the pot. Apologies, I don't know why that wasn't included, but anyway, I added the vermicelli in there, and I'm basically just toasting that a little bit, just for a few minutes, maybe around 2 to 3 minutes, just until it turned this kind of golden brown shade. And then at that point I'm going to add in my rinsed rice, and I'm just going to toast the rice with the vermicelli just for about a minute or so. And then I'm adding in, of course, some seasoning, a little bit of salt, and then giving that a wee mix. And then I'm just going to add in my water just now as well, just about a ½ inch or so. I'll show you how I kind of measure it with my finger as normal. That's how much I ended up adding. Yeah, and then once that came to a boil, I just loosely covered it and left it to cook for around 15 to 20 minutes or so. And after that, I just added some oil to this pan, just filled it up around halfway or so. It was kind of just how much oil I had left. And then I'm just kind of lightly squeezing the aubergine with a paper towel just to get rid of some more of that moisture. Just sticking that on a wee plate, and then I'm just adding it to the oil in batches. So I had the oil heating up just on a high heat, and I'm just adding it in batches. You obviously don't want to overcrowd this so that the oil doesn't cool down too much, and so that everything cooks evenly and nicely. So yeah, just adding that in like so, probably about 3 or 4 batches for 2 aubergines, I would say. This took around 10 minutes or so to fry. I just kind of stirred it, as I'm showing you, kind of semi-continuously while it was frying, just so that everything would cook evenly. And then after around 10 minutes or so, it turned this lovely golden colour. So just when you reach that colour is when you want to take them out, and I just stuck them on a wee lined plate so that some of the excess oil could be soaked up. And then as you can see, I'm just slicing up some of this Lebanese flatbread, which I'm also going to be frying. It's fry central today for the fitted Betanjan, but yeah, it's a wee treat, as I like to say. Yeah, and then I'm just again adding that to the oil once I've finished cooking all the aubergine, and this didn't take long at all, maybe like a couple of minutes, but 2 to 3 minutes, until it turned this lovely golden colour. And same with the aubergine, just sticking it on a wee lined plate so that the excess oil can be soaked up. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna set that aside while I'm getting everything else ready. Yeah, and then after the rice was cooked, so this was after, like I said, about 15-20 minutes, I just gave it a gentle stir, and then I just covered that back up and just let it sit while I prepared the sauce here. So I'm just adding about 2 tablespoons of that coconut yogurt to a bowl, along with a tablespoon of tahini. And then I'm adding, I was going to say the juice of half a lemon, but I only ended up adding about half of the juice of that lemon, so about the juice of a quarter of a lemon. And then I added on some minced garlic, just a little bit of salt, and then I'm giving that a really good mix. And I'm adding just a little bit of water, just a wee splash to thin it down. Obviously you add as much water depending on your desired thickness, and I'm just giving it a wee taste here. I always like to say just taste as you go along the way to make sure everything is seasoned nicely. As you can see, I thought that sauce was really lovely. Yeah, and then finally I'm just going to toast up these pine nuts in this little pan here. I just added a wee bit of oil. You don't need the oil, but I added a bit of oil anyway since I was going all out here. Yeah, and I've just got this on a high heat, and I'm just toasting the pine nuts until they turn this lovely golden colour. And yeah, that's everything prepped. So back to me to show you how I assembled everything. So now that all of, actually not, I don't know why I'm acting like it's the same day. People, it's the next day. Because yesterday was just a bit too rushed. So I've just fried up some more aubergine and heated up the leftovers. So I'm just gonna assemble everything, show you how I'm putting it all together. So I'm just starting off, of course, with the vermicelli rice here. nice and steamy. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add on some of this tomato sauce on top. Oh, shut up! I dropped some of the sauce in the oil, and now it's frying. And then I'm gonna add on some of this lovely golden fried aubergine. I was going back and forth about whether I wanted to bake it or fry it, but to be honest, nothing compares to the fried aubergine. It just is so beautiful. And then I'm gonna add in some of this crunchy fried bread. It's just like the bread that you put in fetouche. This is like carb overload, but it's so good. So it's a treat, people, it's a treat. Next, I'm gonna add some of this yogurt tahini garlic sauce. This is honestly one of my favorite things. It's so good. And versatile. You don't need to only use it for this. You can use it in many dishes, I believe. And then I'm gonna add some of this toasted pine nuts, which I did toast with a little bit of oil. You don't need to add the oil, but you can if you would like. Okay, and then for some colour and freshness, I'm gonna add some fresh chopped parsley. And again, mostly for the colour, but I guess also for some freshness as well. Some pomegranate molasses. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Apologies if it's a bit messy. I haven't seen the footage yet, so I'm a bit nervous about the lighting and stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And it's so delicious. I really especially recommend this one. Let me know if you try it. Let me know your variations of feta Beitingan. And yeah, thanks so much. See you in the next one. See you soon. Bye.